What's up, y'all? Part 2. West Coast KRS-One check. Check 1, check 2. And to make it clear, when we say check, that means put in place. Put in place means you're out of place. You're telling this broad story with only a little bit of information. And so when these West Coast pioneers sat KRS-One down at the table, they checked him, showed him what it really was. See, a lot of you ignorant, dumb motherfuckers think check meant beating somebody up. No. Plenty of ways to politely check people. But checking got to commencing. Because you was wrong. These things, the story is bigger than what you've been saying. And so yesterday, we went in and we listened to DJ Icy Ice. We listened to Egyptian Lover. Today, we're going to focus both on King T and Disco Daddy. That's what we're going to focus on today. Disco Daddy, then the King T. And so, but I want to first start off by talking about why. People ask, okay, Dewan, why is it important you talk about race and bring up race? Let's first talk about why we're doing this to make it clear for people who may have some questions. Some people just don't know, why are we talking about this? What's the point? Everything I talk about on this channel, can't speak for other channels, but on this channel, there's a greater purpose. Alright? And the greater purpose for this particular episode that we're doing today, and most what I do, is to correct the history. You only know who you are if you understand where you come from. And when you live in a country as Black Americans like the United States, we're constantly separated as Black people from where we come from. And I'm not talking about Africa. I'm talking about where we come from here in the United States of America. If you ask 20 people, do they know what the Jacksonian riots or rebellions were? Riots. I'm sure if you ask 50 Black people about the Jacksonian riots, 49 aren't going to know. Maybe I'm probably being generous. They don't know that in the 1820s there were thriving free Black towns during slavery, while the North was still having slavery, by the way, and whole free Black towns that were thriving in Philadelphia, in New York, Boston, Cincinnati, Cleveland, St. Louis. We don't know about these great times that white folks, like they did. Hell, you ask 49 out of 50 Black people, do they understand what Red Summer 1919 was? That was 100 years later. And all the times Black Americans built things for it to be burnt down. We don't have an accurate depiction of our history on the good side. Now we know all about slavery. We know all about, in the present, everything a Black person does wrong is criminalized. We get to see Black people on the news every day doing something wrong and criminal. We got Black media people like 50 Cent who only put up TV shows about Black debauchery, BMF and all this shit, celebrating the goddamn thug. We got Rick Ross throwing thug concerts. Most Black people don't know that heavy metal is ours, grunge music is ours, country is ours. But we know all the negative shit is ours, don't we? We have to watch on the news all of the ills and dangers of gangster rap, but they never talk to y'all about outlaw country, Waylon Jennings, Willie Nelson, and all that music they made about bar fights and shootings at bars that done led to tens of thousands of white men being murdered, by the way. biker gang music through the form of outlaw country. They don't talk to you about that. They don't talk to people about death metal. Do people even know death metal as a genre even exists? Person number one, if you know some death metal classics. Death metal is literally a genre where they talk about raping babies, chewing people's brains out. This is a death metal song called Slaughter of the Soul. Literally. Here's a song called Chopped in Half. See, you black people know all about drill music, but do y'all know about death metal? Death metal is a genre where white people really talk about, and they don't just talk about it in the music, they do it. Death metal has been connected to a lot of murders in the Midwest and all throughout America. But you don't know that because white America and non-black America, they have their underbellies brushed to the side. They don't highlight that. They get to be Captain Superman. They get to be Batman. They get to be the heroes. We get to be the slaves. So when we do something right, when we do something good, and we create it on our own, the first thing the propaganda from Henry Skip the Truth Gates, as Dr. John Henry Clark called him, through KRS-One, through all that stuff, they always other our greatness. They tell you about Thomas Edison, but not Lewis Latimer. They tell us about when hip hop was all bad and everything was negative, that was all on black people. Every fucking time we do something great, we gotta share it. Listen to the history of jazz. What have they been saying for years when it comes to the history of jazz? Oh, it was New Orleans because there were French, Haitian, and Spanish influences. Not forgetting to tell you that the French lost control of New Orleans in 1804. Jazz didn't really get codified until Buddy Bolden, 1906? 1907? They don't tell you about the ragtime that created the jazz. They always want to bring in all these other groups without telling you that sound was created in segregation. The black people weren't allowed to be around the remaining French and other people. We were segregated. They don't tell you about the mass migration of more than 25,000 black people from the rural South to New Orleans in the 1880s, which is what cultivated and made jazz. They always got to make us share our shit. And now that hip hop has become something that the world loves, now we got to share it with fucking Caribbeans. Hell no. Caribbeans, Latinos, this is with love and respect. But you just the new Europeans over here. Guess what happens when ragtime started? All those Italians, Germans, and all them people that came to America, they fell in love with Scott Joplin and Maple Leaf Rag. This is the sound of America in 1901. They called that shit. Do you know why they called that sound ragtime? One, because of the ragged notes, and I'm writing this in my book right now. But also because black people were synonymous with wearing rags. Because, we were the sharecroppers. The negative imagery of black people at the turn of the century was us in these haggardly rag outfits. And so they called that shit ragtime as a way to demean it and dismiss it. But new immigrants, that ended up becoming a jam. Just like you Jamaicans and Latinos that came to America when we were creating hip hop, y'all gravitated towards what we were already doing. No different than what the Greeks and the Germans and the Irish and all of those Europeans did a century before you. Same with jazz. Same when Duke Ellington dropped this. When Duke Ellington dropped this, America could not get enough. America, when he dropped that, and I got played on the New York radio, guess what happened? All the white people started coming down. White people were coming down to the Savoy Ballroom in Harlem. And you got to see people coming together of all races because of the music. No different than Motown, no different than Stax. We've always created dope shit, and people who otherwise don't fuck with us. Oh man, my audio's messed up. My audio's messed up. Thanks, Truby, for the text message. Thanks, Truby, for the text message. I just saw your text message come up. And I see here again, another update. I have the new Apple update. Let me change my mic. Come on now. I gotta quit out. Hold on, y'all. This shit should be playing through my Stream Deck. Hold on, let me unplug and replug. There we go. There we go. Thanks, Truby, for the text. That's better. Thanks, Truby, for the text. Well, anyway, that's better. So, every decade, we creating some new shit. And whoever's new to this country gravitates towards it. Period. It happened with Chess Records and the Chicago sound in the 50s. Chuck Berry. Hip-hop as a uniting force ain't doing nothing that any other fucking form of black music has done. From Sly and the Family Stone to motherfucking Louis Jordan. We've always done that. That's the reason why we're speaking about this as black culture, not as hip-hop culture. Because hip-hop is right in line and continuum with black culture. It's doing what every previous genre had done before. The grunge music, when you listen to house music, techno, disco. What did disco do? Bring everybody together, right? So what would make hip-hop any different? If every fucking boogaloo, what did boogaloo do? It brought everybody together. Every fucking song we do brings people together. I don't know what this whole thing is about. Oh yeah, see, hip-hop got this special uniting force. What, the same force Motown had? Hell, at least people wasn't getting shot at Motown parties. Shit, yeah, hip-hop bring people together. But when, what up, blood? What up, cuz? What up, blood? What up? Niggas get shot. Hell, at least Chess Records didn't do that. Damn. So, we are about to go into part 2 of the video. And we're going to break it all down. And then we're going to go a little bit deeper, right? We're going to go a little bit deeper. So this is Disco Daddy. And I'm glad to see he's getting his story out. I have only heard scant information about him over the years. But I did, because I told you my uncle was into all this shit. So I do remember some of these stories from my uncle, but from years, like, I don't, man, my uncle probably told me some of this shit 20 years ago. But it's great that Disco Daddy is out there now telling his story. And so I want y'all to go, we have this video tagged. I want y'all to go to Be Real TV from the legendary Be Real from Cypress Hill. Go to his YouTube channel and get down with the get down. You dig? So let's go to what Disco Daddy has to say. And then we're gonna break it down from an LA perspective. All right? Let's go.
Scratching when I was DJing. Okay.
Let me see here. Here we go.
Okay. But I was what was called a funk DJ. I could mix James Brown and the Confunction into Earth, Wind, and Fire and make it sound like one record. The white DJs, 130 beats per minute, the standard, okay? But a black DJ had to be black, okay? So...
You see how one Disco Daddy's keeping it black. And he said again, he was a funk DJ. What have I been trying to teach y'all this whole time we've been doing this whole thing? Hip-hop is a child of the funk. And the funk has an evolution. And it starts with James Brown, Sly and the Family Stone, but it evolves through Parliament Funkadelic as you get on to the late 70s. And it always goes back to funk. The radio and funk. So we must always remember that. It always goes back to the funk. But the funk is a genre that America's trying to wipe clean as if it never existed. Let's keep going.
Basically, when Rapper's Delight, just like he said, came out, it influenced everybody. And since I was already rhyming, not rapping, like I just showed you, 70s, I said, I can do that. I quit my job. My lady thought I was crazy. From 2 years, from 1979 to 1981, I rapped at quinceañeras, anniversary parties, whatever I could do. Then KGFJ, again, KGFJ was the first.
You heard that? From 79 to 71, to 81, he was rapping. That's before Melly Mel. Mind you, earlier, I don't want to play all of his video because I want y'all to go back and watch it. He said that he started in 1976. He started in 1976 here in LA. All right? That's before Melly Mel and the Furious Five in New York started in 78. Breakout hit in 1980, mega hit in 1982. So he's rapping in 79 before he hears them.
To play a rap record, a West Coast rap record, it was mine.
KGF.
Before K-Day, there was KJ. Again, I'm telling you the foundation story.
KGFJ.
JB Stone was the program director. And he was looking for, well, I got to tell you first, they had on the air that they were going to give the first West Coast rap battle. This is August 1981. I quit my job at 2.
August 1981, the first West Coast rap battle. August 1981. Appreciate that Cash App, Smooth J. Appreciate the Cash App. It's August 1981. Let's keep going.
2 years, I'm rapping all over the place. I'm the only West Coast rapper at that time. And I knew all the DJs, Speakeasy, Dr. D, Andre, Carolina West. And so I told all the DJs, remember the Southern California DJ Association. This is 1981. I told all the DJs, I quit my job, 79. I'm going to come through and rap for a few minutes. So all the DJs was inviting me to rap. I was the only rapper doing all the nightclubs at that time. So
what time is this?
This is 79 to 81. So people had never seen anybody could do that. And the fascination effect was in the, people, I couldn't even remember a time when I'm rapping And you could see the audience not knowing whether they should dance or look up at the stage and watch the show.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? There's a transition thing going on. So KGFJ was giving a rap battle, August 81, at the Carolina West. I went down and heard on the radio.
He said they were giving a rap battle at the Carolina West. Now, the Carolina West is very important to West Coast hip hop. It's very important. I'm gonna play this part. Y'all may have heard that term, Carolina West. Y'all may have heard that word before. You probably heard it in this right here. Rest in peace, Ricky Harris, my guy.
We'd like to welcome y'all to the fabulous Carolina West. I own this motherfucker, and my name is Tata.
You see that cultural connection? The first rap battle was at the Carolina West, 1981. Snoop, 11 years later, puts out, 12 years later, 93, drops Doggy Dog World. He has a dramatics singing background, Detroit. Soul from Detroit singing background. You got Ricky Harris playing Tadal, rest in peace, Ricky Harris. We at the Carolina West. Yeah, in New York, we got our own hip-hop culture going on too in the 80s. See, the conversation needs to expand. We had a whole hip-hop 50 celebration with only one place being recognized when you're recognizing people in one city who came after people doing it in a different city. That's why, again, hip-hop is Black American culture. Each city has its own expression of it. Each city now, Disco Daddy is from New York. He moved to LA in 75. But like I said, and we're going to get to this in a few minutes, he got it from Frankie Crocker and Jago Henderson. Like I told y'all, them DJs in the 70s was getting it from. But that's going to be later on. At that time stamp is coming a little later on. But you see already in that same Carolina West, we had our own thing going on over here. That was different from over there. That we refused to let you motherfuckers claim because it was ours. Because it was expressed differently. Like I always say, New York is the spark. But look what happens. I'm out of butane. If you ain't got no butane, if you ain't got no gas throughout the country, what happens to a spark? Spark don't come. You need that gas in there. You need that gas to create a flame. The gas is Black America. Did New York spark something? Hell yeah. But it was Black America that kept that flame going. Black America is the fuel. How long are you niggas gonna go around patting yourself on the head for a goddamn spark? Before you acknowledge the fuel. The fuel is Houston, LA, Detroit, Chicago, Memphis, Atlanta. That's the fuel, goddammit. Prove me wrong, nigga. Because if New York was the fuel, the hottest rapper on the streets right now would be Fat Joe and Tekashi 6ix9ine. If New York was the fuel, Fat Joe and Tekashi 6ix9ine would be the hottest rappers on the planet right now. Okay? So let's keep going with this.
Me and this cat named Trey, we beat everybody. It's just me and him left. Curtis Blow was the judge. They had been flown out by Uncle Jam's Army. Roger Clayton was a friend of mine since 1970.
There you go again, Uncle Jam's Army. Roger Clayton flew Curtis Blow out to LA in 1981. LA was putting money in the pockets of New York hip hop because LA had respect for New York. We weren't doing that bullshit. Oh, they from New York. We gonna do it. No, the LA promoters going back to the 80s was flying out the known New York rappers, the ones that was hitting the radio. You see how that works? Black America. Curtis Blow wasn't getting flown out to Jamaica to judge a rap contest in 1981. Run DMC wasn't getting flown out to Puerto Rico in 1984 to do a rap concert.
77, way before he started Uncle Jam's Army. Back then, he had Unique Dreams Entertainment. He came to the workshop. Now, it was an experiment. This, again, as you know, KRS-One, there was a moment in time when people said, oh, this rap thing is a fad. It's not going to be around, okay, a few years later.
Right.
So they wanted, KGFJ wanted to see if they should play more rap records, how many people over 21, because this was a club that sold drinks, Carolina West, would come out, not teenagers, all right? And the Carolina West wanted to know if Andre should play more rap because our grown people, 21 over, going to come out for this new.
Because remember, that was a kid's music at the time. I want to skip forward to another timestamp that I have here. Where's that timestamp? Right here.
The effect of the Pack Club and everything, and basically, I was known as a DJ, but I wasn't known as a rapper. Let's do this again next week. They brought us back next week. Me in the same tooth, beat everybody except this one cat. He later changed his name to Ice-T.
Oh, see? He's talking about how
But that night,
that
the
next
first
week
rap battle,
at the Carolina West, the second week, a man by the name of Ice-T was there. Ice-T. And he had been doing it since the 70s. Ice-T graduated Crenshaw High School the same year as my mom. My mom was Ice-T's high school classmate at Crenshaw High School. I remember a lot of this shit growing up. Some of these stories. Because of my uncles. And that's why, as an LA guy, I've been so resistant to all of this, everything. Like, no, we do our own thing out here. I was there. See, let me tell you, New York niggas, something. You weren't there. So shut up. You can't talk about LA hip hop because you wasn't there. You wasn't there. So if you got an issue or a comment to say about LA hip hop, suck it up. Because you wasn't there. Two could play that game, ho. And let me tell you something else for people who'll be making comments after the video. If you don't like what I'm saying, I don't give a fuck. I get people saying, oh, DeJuan, you just got a problem with New York. Hell yeah, I got a problem in one city trying to take black culture because you got a goddamn genre that you took graffiti from Philadelphia. You take all the goddamn music samples that's made all around Black America. You take all this other shit and say it's yours and you created it when you got it from other people. Hell yeah, anybody that stands for that, and you, if you're ever here arguing with me instead of the people that sold you that bullshit, then kiss my ass. All right, making that very clear. Making that very clear. I don't care if you sensitive ass New Yorkers got a problem with what I'm saying. We've been having to sit back and listen to you motherfuckers. Oh, the South, that ain't hip hop. Man, who is Too Short? And I do know it's some of y'all who ain't like that. I get it. But you niggas get the fuck out the way. We've been hearing this shit. Pressing number one if you're from the Midwest, the South, the West, and you've been hearing all this shit too. Pressing number one. Let these motherfuckers know that I ain't the only one talking. We've been having to listen to you Donald Trump chest beating blowhard motherfuckers for 40 years, 50 years. Then y'all gave a goddamn hip hop 50 and they had the nerve to not celebrate Roger Troutman, Johnny Guitar Watson, Bootsy Collins, George Clinton, James Brown, Curtis Mayfield, and all the brothers and sisters, Shaka Khan, and all the brothers and sisters you sampled from and got the game from. Hell no. If you got a problem with it, kiss my ass. I don't care. Because you wasn't there. Man, my whole chat room lit up from around the nation from people saying that they done dealt with this their whole goddamn life. Number one, Midwest. There's people all across America in my chat right now saying they heard the same goddamn thing. So sit y'all asses down and learn a fucking history lesson. Shut up for once and learn about hip-hop outside your little ass bubble. All right? I don't want to hear none of you Timberland wearing motherfuckers arguing shit. Put on your marshmallow shoes, your Timberlands. Put on your goddamn whatever you wear and sit your bumbleclot ass down and listen to some hip-hop history outside of your little ass bubble. And stop crying like bitches when somebody don't treat you like the motherfucking god of music. Sensitive ass niggas. One thing I don't have I don't have an issue with is offending a sensitive ass nigga. If you a sensitive ass nigga, goddamn it, turn the channel, because I'm not about to please you for shit. As a matter of fact, it's about to get worse. So let's go ahead.
In Los Angeles, Disco Daddy versus Ice-T.
There you go, Disco Daddy versus Ice-T, Mr. Law and Order. Now I want to fast forward to this part.
Was honored by New York State.
Look at this. Oh, hell no. I lost my marker. Damn it. Let me go back. Do I still got it? Where's that marker? This how you know Disco Daddy is official. You may be like, who's Disco Daddy?
You see what I'm saying?
Look
but
at this.
Before that time, when doing my time, you had to pay regular studio prices.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? McCullough broke it open for Roger Clayton.
He needs a tissue or napkin or something.
I'm sorry.
This story
Right
is
here. Oh, no, right here. Here we go. Disco Daddy
Was honored by New York State Assembly.
Whoa.
I'm the only hip-hop artist to be honored by both California and New York General Assembly.
Disco Daddy was honored by both New York and California. New York for being born in New York and then moving to LA in 76 and bringing that spice over to us. See, back then, you had to actually move. It wasn't on internet. We didn't know what was going on.
Please. Yeah. Okay. All right.
woo.
So the being messed around and recording contract was my out because as a Soul Train dancer,
And he was a Soul Train dancer. What did I tell y'all before on this very show? Hip-hop dances were communicated through Soul Train. Hip-hop, and then when you get into the 80s and the 90s, hip-hop was communicated through the Arsenio Hall show. Both LA shows. Soul Train was created in Chicago, but it was only there for 1 year. It spent the next 25 years here in LA, getting local LA talent to dance.
watching TV, I'm seeing the New York City Breakers.
He also created the LA Breakers. He also created the LA Breakers. But Soul Train survived and thrived in LA culture. Yeah, it was created in Chicago, but it was LA that made it live and sent it worldwide. I'm not about to sit here and I'm going to give credit for Don Cornelius for creating it in Chicago, bet. But them dancers and what made that shit thrive in the 70s and the 80s, that was all LA. It's the reason why the show didn't go back to Chicago, all right? It's the reason why it came here.
Met Michael, who was the manager at that time. But they were dancing on TV in front of President Ronald Reagan at the White House.
Right.
I turned to my lady, I said,
this is the early 80s when he was doing his shit out here with that. So I want to go into the Parliament part where he talks about Parliament Funkadelic. Because I'm always talking to y'all about the importance of Parliament Funkadelic. What has been my working thesis on this very channel? Hip hop is a sonic not just hip hop. All music, all cultures are an interpretation of your immediate environment. Your environment dictates the culture, and it dictates the sound. What you listening to every day. Listen to him talk about Parliament Funkadelic.
Was a genius.
Okay.
So in the back of every record crate was the emergency.
Oh, here it is. This is back to Egyptian. This is back to Egyptian Lover. They're talking about here. The question was, how were there no fights? Let me see this. Let's listen to this part.
Was a genius.
Let me see. No, that's too far. It's too far. Come on.
Themselves also, you know, and then we had a lot of people, Koreans and people like that, who you did not think of being dancers, who were some of the most fantastic dancers in the world, but they always practiced at home and kept it inside. Here they had a venue to be shown, and inspire others of their race.
Wow.
Hey, hip hop is for everybody.
How was there no beef?
That's the part right there. Is hip hop for everybody? It depends on what level you're talking about. It's like black music. Once you create it, you can't control where it goes. This one thing I want black people to understand. Once you create a culture, we have no control where it goes from there. And if you create something good, everybody's want to go to be a part of it. At least in this man's point of view, he got paid. When he taught those dances to Koreans and other races, they had to pay him. They had to pay him to be a part of that. And that's what I want black people to understand. If they want to come participate, fine. Get your money first. Get your money first. Now let's go into this part.
No gang beef. You got this is a time LA is right.
They had beef.
Oh,
but Roger was a genius.
okay.
So in the back of every record crate was the emergency record. In every crate.
An emergency record.
Emergency record. I had no idea what he was talking about.
What was that right? What is
So we're at the sports arena and we hear a gunshot, pow, and the crowd starts spreading. He said, "Put it on." I went in the back of the crate, put it on, and flashlight came on.
flashlight?
And everybody stopped running, and all the gangsters put their guns away, whatever, and start crip walking and doing their dance like they've been practicing all their life.
You see how important the funk is and how great how music is when it's at its best? This is what he said. This is what he put on. In order to stop, when there was a shooting, mind you, 10,000 people there. They stopped the shooting in the 80s to this song that dropped. That stopped the party. I mean, that stopped the gunfighting. He also says this song. That was one song that stopped the shootings, but so did this. Always goes back to the funk. That shit stopped shootings, y'all.
And everybody went back to the floor and started dancing. I looked at my
On flashlight.
And then I looked at the other one. It was One Nation Under a Groove. We were like, Knee Deep was in another one. Like, dang.
Now, this is Parliament Funkadelic you're talking about.
So he had all those records.
And not just Knee Deep. The song we played yesterday. You can't find it on Spotify. But you can find it on my Patreon, on my funk music playlist. See, compare the funk. This is where we were culturally with our music at the time. He stopped shootings with this. That stopped people from getting murdered. Contrast that with when I used to do security in the club. I remember anytime this song came on, Guaranteed fight in the club.
Man, fuck them niggas.
Hear those minor chords, that tension? That's how powerful music is, y'all. The reason why we unite is because that's what music does. Music dictates your emotion. What you gonna do. You have a different energy when you go from this. The tempo, the pacing, the chords, the melodies, that makes you want to dance. This? Those are minor chords. It's tension. And as a drummer, rhythmically, dun 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 dun. That's a war chant. That's some shit you'll listen to watching a haunted movie. If you watch a movie, if they want to dictate to you somebody's going to die, they're probably going to play something like dun 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 dun. And those was my club days. You end up getting in a fight. Fights end up happening. So how powerful the music is. That was just a quick little side lesson I wanted to put in. But I want to go skip forward to this part he says about Frankie Crocker. Again, I want you guys to go back and watch this full interview because I'm doing some major jumps because it's a lot I want to get to. But I want y'all to go back and watch this full interview. And again, thank you, chat room, for joining. Desmond, Chris, everybody that's up in here. Scrap Dirty, I see you up in here. Chad, Breeze, I see everybody up in here. Goldie, I'm scrolling through. I ain't been really looking at the chat room. But I appreciate y'all for joining. DW, West Indian Chuck, Keyshawn, whoever else I miss. What's up, Brooke? Everybody I miss. Appreciate y'all for joining. So you see here, you cannot let people get away with othering the music. The music is what brings people together. KRS-One started this whole conversation off about saying outside of the music. What about hip-hop culture? I got a question for people who want to remove the music. Name one thing multiple cultures gather at in America that doesn't involve music or sports. I'll wait. The music is what dictates the culture that's going to be there. Okay? It's the music. So you cannot other the music. Let me see. Let me go up here to this part. 3210. 23210.
Sun signs, Libras, Scorpio, and then the girls across. They say a rhyme about,
Let me go back a little bit further. He's talking about how he's right now. He's talking about how he got his rhymes, how he started rhyming, and where he got that from. Okay, that's what he's talking about right now.
And rap at the same time.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
Like this with it, right? You could.
The mixers weren't complicated.
Right.
Fader.
Yeah, he wasn't doing a lot of tricks.
No.
No tricks, right. But I slip in my rhymes. And so that's where I developed my style because I was rapping about sun signs, Libras, Scorpio, and then the girls across. They say a rhyme about, Aquarius, and I'd make up something like that. But that's what I was rhyming. It wasn't rapping. These were short, succinct rhymes, okay, which is distinct from rapping. But like I said, when Rappers Alike came out, I said I can do that, and I did it.
Yeah, Rappers Alike is our first introduction.
That was everybody's first introduction. Even in New York, that was like, you mentioned Frankie Crocker, big.
Everybody, even in New York. So here's one of the things. They always want to, here's the whole Kool Herc thing. They talk about Kool Herc, but the Kool Herc parties had a small amount of children in there. It was Rappers Delight that people outside of that small little village saw what was going on. It was Rappers Delight that exposed everything to everybody because that was what hit the radio first, at least in a big way. I'm not talking about pirate radio, little small. I'm talking about mainstream, everyday radio. It was Rapper's Delight. And Rapper's Delight, like you just heard from the West Coast, even though he had come from New York, mind you, Disco Daddy is from New York. He left New York in 75, moved to LA. He was rhyming, but he was getting his rhyming, as he's about to explain here, from Frankie Crocker. It was Rapper's Delight that turned him on to actually rapping. And this is a man, again, like I said, from New York. Let's go to this Frankie Crocker part.
Introduction.
That was everybody's first introduction. Even in New York, that was like, you mentioned Frankie Crocker, big name in the early days.
WWRL, the big RL, the OG Frankie Crocker.
Man.
There was no WBLS.
No,
okay?
there wasn't.
Good evening, New York. This is the show to put more dips in your hips, more cut in your strut, more glide in your stride. And if you don't dig it, you know you got a hole in your soul.
Yep, hear that? That was Frankie Crocker. You know who else said he's inspired from Frankie Crocker? George Clinton. On this song right here, what does that sound like? Let me see here. I want to go to that part. Let me turn it off on you guys then so I get to that part. One second. Here it is. This part right here.
Put a glide in your stride and a dip in your hip and come on to the mothership.
Put a glide in your stride, a dip in your hip, and come on to the mothership. Frankie Crocker, I've talked about him before. Him and Jocko Henderson. These guys did more for hip hop than they get the credit for. Frankie Crocker. This is where a lot of your Jamaican toasters, we're getting there when they talk about Jamaican toasting and the Jamaican DJs. When you go and listen to even your Jamaican DJs talk, that came in to New York. They were listening to Frankie Crocker. George Clinton was listening to Frankie Crocker. Melly Mel was listening to Frankie Crocker. Okay? Everybody was listening to Frankie Crocker. He was one of the most powerful men in music. So powerful, the music industry targeted his black ass during that payola scandal. Because he was getting too powerful. He was more powerful than a lot of your artists. Because he decided what got played. And New York and Philadelphia trusted the word of Frankie Crocker. This is where that whole subculture come from. The rapping part of it, I should say. I'm over here. Here we go.
I brought that out here with me when my audition for my first nightclub. Okay, the spirit of Frankie. And that's what I thought DJs did, though.
Right.
You see, I didn't never see a DJ that just played records in New York.
Right.
They always had some kind of rap.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so that's basically my influence out here on the West Coast. I claim West Coast, born in New York, but New York gave me the set of skills to survive anywhere I want to go. Okay.
New York will do that.
You do that, okay?
You see how he says he came from New York, but he got his inspiration from the DJs on the radio. What have I been saying? Did I not say that on my own documentary? Have y'all seen my documentary short on Incense and Ashtrays? I just put it back up.
Basically, what he did was he took the frontline instruments.
I'm over here like what is it? I'm over here sampling myself. Let me see that part where I say that. Where's that part where I tell y'all that? I'm telling you about the drum set right there. Where's that part?
Each generations of black people wants to find their own unique way of expressing. Well, black music has always come with its own certain style of calligraphy, a certain way of writing, because each generations of black people
Where's
wants
that part
to
with
find
the
their
radio?
own unique way of expressing ourselves. Other cultures generally pass things down. For our culture, we pass things down, but every culture has its own twist on it. You know, when it comes to style of dress.
I'm looking for that part where I talked about the radio on here. Is it here?
His vocal styling's been the style revolutionized music.
Here it is.
Period. Right. You know, he played the cornet. You get into jazz in the early 1900s.
I can't find it. I'm not about to spend all day looking for that part. But go back and watch the whole documentary. I told y'all 2 years ago that the information is passed through the radio. And it was the same with jazz. The radio is what made Louis Armstrong popular. He's the reason why the radio is the reason why Louis Armstrong is the father of jazz and not, say, Buddy Bolden. Because Buddy Bolden didn't want to record himself. Radio is the reason why Duke Ellington and Count Basie were the kings of swing and not Jimmy Lunsford and other swing bands. Those were the first to the radio. The people first to the radio are going to have the most influence, period. And it was LA that created the first all hip-hop radio station. So let's go to this next part. Where is it?
Uncle Jam's Army is pretty huge.
Okay, this is KRS-One again, not really understanding how big Uncle Jam's Army is and what's going on with that. So let's
and
Talent.
yeah,
Talent.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
that was nice.
we used to open up for every group. Uncle Jam's Army would bring in.
Roger loved them.
Yeah,
this King T.
Who was also the DJ for
Right.
Uncle Jam's Army.
Yeah.
Oh.
So after I started making records and left, he needed more DJs, so he
Yeah.
got DJ Pooh.
Yeah.
That's where DJ Bobcat comes.
DJ Pooh. DJ Pooh was Ice Cube's right-hand man on Friday. Y'all remember what's his name on Friday? When he was like, Red on Friday, when Debo knocked his ass out and took his chain, that was DJ Pooh. Hey man, you know that bike is ours, right? Debo like, no doubt. Boom! That's DJ Pooh.
DJ for LL Cool J.
Yeah,
and all
Bobcat.
That.
Was in
Yeah,
Uncle Jam's Army.
yeah. So
I mean, this Uncle Jam's Army is pretty huge.
yeah, they just told my whole story. So
I mean, right. And this is wild because what you're saying, it sounds like right. I mean, even the way you're sitting.
Yep. Like Roger to be.
Yeah, and then it comes over, and then we need to come right here because, well, a few more things. So, you're opening up for Run DMC Uncle Jam's Army is bringing these groups
yes,
and where they're bringing where's Uncle Jam's Army
sports
bringing
arena.
Sports
to
arena.
the sports
10,000 people.
10,000
So
people.
they're getting ready to get down for 10,000 people.
And y'all right.
So right there, you see Uncle Jam's Army is bringing New York, Run DMC, LL Cool J to the sports arena like we talked about yesterday. 10,000 people at these jams. And we're talking 1984, 1985, 1983. LA is getting a whole basketball arena to fill up to hip-hop jams. And the only reason why this stopped was because, like I told y'all before, LA is very racist. Black people are not allowed to be too successful for too long in this city without our shit getting shut down. Uncle Jam's Army, and all them years having parties at this big-ass arena, 10, 15,000 people, the insurance kept going up to where they couldn't afford it, and the city basically shut it down. It's always a city here in LA. Every time black people do some shit to level up, here come the city with they bullshit. Always happen. You're right. That's it. It's been an issue, Dad Miller TV. All this time we've been hearing New Yorkers brag about filling up the park and how they're the end all be all of hip hop and everything happened in New York. Meanwhile, LA filling up fucking basketball stadiums. The Clippers couldn't get 10,000 people to that goddamn god awful stadium. When you grew up in LA, man, we used to go to Clipper games all the goddamn time. Why? Because they was always giving out free tickets at the elementary school. Because anybody want to go to them old bum ass games? Uncle Jams was getting more people in there than the Clippers. Did nobody want to go to no bum ass Clipper game? But let Uncle Jam be throwing a party. Shit. This shit only got filled up when Uncle Jams threw something and Disney on Ice, nigga. It's the only time this sorry decrepit ass arena ever got filled up. And y'all talking about a goddamn park. So here we go. So you see here in the early 80s, the West Coast is bringing out the New York legends.
Rocking.
Yeah.
10,000.
Proving my point that it is it's a cross-pollination of Black America that got this shit going. If you notice, Run DMC was not being brought out to Turks and Caicos in 1983. They weren't being brought out to Puerto Rico in 83, 84. They weren't in Kingston in 85. So if y'all wasn't supporting the shit, then why the fuck do you deserve credit for it? You're ignoring the people who was putting big bread in the pockets of these legends. To elbow your musty ass in there. We shutting all this shit down. We shutting all this bullshit down.
Thousand people at the sports arena.
Yes, it was crazy. Yeah.
Okay, and this is around what, 83, 84?
83.
83.
83. 1983. Look at that. This is LA hip hop in 1983. And that's only part of the stadium.
DMC just comes
Right there.
out in 83. Oh, wait a minute. What's up?
That's Uncle Jam's Army Sports Arena. Right
That's exactly how it looked.
Oh, word. Is that color corrected or is
No.
everybody wearing white?
No, it's the picture, the photo faded.
Oh, it's faded. That's what I'm saying. Right.
So everybody down there looking great.
And look at that sound system back there. That's not a Cool Herc sound system. That was a sound system that was bought right here in LA, probably at Circuit City somewhere.
Oh, so this is what we got. Okay.
That's just part of it. So just imagine that times 6.
right.
That times 6. He said the parties were this times 6.
No, imagine. No, that's just part of it. But also, look at this. This is peace.
Right.
Yeah.
This is fun.
Right.
This is people jamming to music and, look at everybody's head is where the stage is. Like the focus is right there. And look at what you got on top. Soul Fried. I mean, these are obviously
Good
Fred.
Soul Fred.
Good Fred for the Jerry.
Gold Fred was a Jerry Crow place.
For your Jerry Curl.
Oh, wait a minute. See, I can't see. Wait a minute. Okay.
He created the Good Fred.
What is that? That's called Good Fred.
Good Fred oil.
That's Jerry Curl oil.
Yeah, spray for your Jerry Curl.
And then you got K-Day.
Yeah.
See, that's black economics 101 right there. The only first hip hop station K-Day and the Good Fred Jerry Curl oil. Jerry Curl's and they didn't even charge him to put that banner up. That's black economics 101, 1983. See, in LA, we weren't just partying in no fucking park. We was turning this shit into a business. Radio in a major basketball stadium promoting Jerry Curl juice. Does it get any more black American nigga than that?
And then you got Handsome Dude.
Which was for people with short hair. The handsome dude was like a jail. And they keep their hair now. We had the long hair guys with Jerry Curl and had the short hair guy with the little cream.
No, but why?
That's LA's contribution to hip hop in 1983. A 10,000 seat venue with Jerry Curl juice and hair oil, advertising on the first all hip hop radio station in America. Chat room, is this not a contribution? Why was this not mentioned during Hip Hop 50? You see how they do us? Black people history is written out through omission. Black history is written out through omission. You don't tell about the thriving black towns in the 1820s. You don't talk about the black musicians who toured the world and performed for Queen Victoria in 1837. You don't talk about blind Tom Wiggins composing over 7,000 songs and performing at the White House in 1860. You don't talk about it. You just don't talk about it. You don't talk about Paul Robeson being an athlete and a top level singer and artist that had worldwide impact, who it's alleged the MK Ultra was one of the early victims of MK Ultra in 1960, who drank some shit in Moscow and wigged out. But he was a person who inspired Dr. King. You write him out. And what they're doing right now, if you notice, they're writing funk out the history. Funk is being written out right in front of our face. I just saw a Michael Jackson documentary, and they talked about the song Billie Jean, but did not categorize it with funk. They sure did characterize the other songs. They made sure, when I watched that documentary, they made sure to categorize Beat It with rock. They said, oh yeah, Beat It was a rock song. Beat It was a rock song. But then they played this. But didn't associate it with funk. That's funk. That's how you write something out of it. You put it right in front of your face and don't acknowledge it. I just saw another documentary with Sly and the Family Stone. And they were trying to call Sly and the Family Stone a rock band. Does this sound like rock to you? Does this sound like rock to you? Does that sound like rock to you?
If you want me to stay, I'll be around today to be available for you.
That's funk. But they didn't acknowledge the funk. Put it right in front of your face. Funk music is being written out of history in front of us right now. Hip hop's biggest songs are tied to funk. The biggest dances. Everything about it is tied to funk, but they don't acknowledge it. They're writing funk out of our history in front of our fucking faces. And unless we do something and say something about it, the kids in 20 years ain't gonna, the kids now don't hardly know about no goddamn funk. Go to iTunes and type in funk. Do you ever see when they talk about in the music categories in Apple Music? Do they, look what they have. Their funk, look at this shit. Oh, what are you doing? No, stop. I don't want that. iTunes. Come on now. They're not letting me click on the playlist. Because on these playlists, let me see here. You'll have a hard time finding some pure funk. I'm trying to look up funk right now on Spotify. Just to see what they have real quick. Yeah. What happens when the funk comes up? Yeah, they ain't really got much for you on the Spotify playlist when it comes to funk. You see this shit? They ain't really got much for you on Spotify. Now, my playlist shows up. My funk radio playlist shows up. But featuring, they got some white people. Look at the funk playlist right now on Spotify. White folks. They ain't got one song. They ain't got not one song from Slave. Nothing from Steve Arrington. They're literally writing that genre out right in front of us. So this is what we're dealing with, black people, cultural erasure. They're trying to erase our culture right in front of us. When these West Coast pioneers are telling you all this shit came from the funk. I'm going to the next part.
We're going to change the name of this project from Disco Daddy to Disco Daddy and Captain Rap. I got a part. You sure about this? Let's go. We signed you. Okay, I said, if you hear this, dude, you'll understand. Okay, he said, I've never been a DJ. I've never been on stage or nothing like that, but he had that gift. Right. Okay, so I changed the whole thing. It was Disco Daddy and Captain Rap. And plus, going back to the memory of your rhymes, with two guys writing, that workload is divided between Captain Rap and myself. Right. Two cats working the stage. This is before there was no Run DMC at this time. Okay, so we said another.
There was no Run DMC at this time. Disco Daddy was in the group before they even saw Run DMC. Run DMC came later. I'm sure Run DMC was probably making its way around New York. But they didn't know about Run DMC in 1981 in LA. They definitely knew about Run DMC in 1983, 84. This is what I mean by once the spark hit and it was put out there, each city developed its own vehicle for the culture. Now I want to go to this next part. The Filipino. Listen to KRS-One trying to steer the conversation back into race. And listen to how it's answered.
They get to a club somewhere.
We had it to the very end, so we didn't do any of that. We always had that emergency record.
Right.
One Nation Under Groove was like the top of the three.
And you said reggae, though.
Yeah, reggae.
And any specific artists?
Murder, She Wrote is always like a...
Murder, She Wrote.
Murder,
She Wrote. Wow, look at that. And that.
I want to bring up that point because the Filipino DJ Icy Ice is Filipino. He comes from a island tropical region. Reggae is the sound of the tropical world. So their song, when they would do the Filipino clubs to stop fighting, they would go to reggae, which makes sense. Because they have a different culture than ours, the Filipinos. Yes, we unite around hip hop, but when it's time for them to play something that's more in tune with their culture, the Filipinos are going to go reggae. The Black Americans are going to go funk. Proof that we are different cultures that are united around hip hop. Come on, Rocky. Rocky knocking on the door. Come on, Rocky. Say hi to everybody. Rocky came knocking on the door. No, Rocky. That's not the Me Too lady. That's KRS-One, Rocky. That's not the Me Too lady. That's not Me Too, Rocky. It's KRS-One. Okay? That's not the Me Too lady. I'm just playing. I gotta talk some shit. I'm just playing. I'm just don't nobody go clipping that up. Just playing. Just playing. Don't take it personal. Don't take it personal. Take the bitter with the sweet. Easy come, easy go. Easy come, easy go. Listen to his high school experience.
And Instagram and all that.
This was the real ride.
And I think it's important to say that it was our music, not our parents' music. Those influences.
That's big too, yeah.
You know what I mean? This was something we were growing up with.
Mm-hmm. And so growing up in Carson, like I went to school with Raz Kaz. We were in the same gym class. But he was rhyming even way back then.
Really? He went to high school with Raz Kaz, another West Coast legend. But in Carson,
you had
after school's over with, the blacks go this way, the Filipinos go that way, and the Samoans go that way, and the Tongans definitely go that way. Because Carson, they got them Samoans versus Tongan wars. And you do not want to be caught up in the middle of that with your black ass. Let's go into the graffiti part that he's trying to get into.
Let me come over. We haven't heard from Create. And this is going to take us, Create or Be Real. But I want to talk a little bit about that graph scene now. Because LA is known in the world for graph crazy. This is one of the capitals for the art, for what's being turned out in terms of art style. This is one of the capitals right here. People hail up Berlin as well. Lisbon is coming up the charts. Athens, Greece got some craziness going on over there. So when does graffiti, and this is a weird question because I'm quite sure the term graffiti, like writing your name on a wall or a tree or somewhere, it had to have already been in LA. But there is a hip hop style to this graffiti. You guys don't have subways. How did you do it? What was the beginning, in your knowledge, graffiti in LA?
Well, I take you back into like for me, like the late 70s of the local gangs in the area doing block letters and old English letters on the wall, writing their neighborhoods up. And so not only that, we also had watching cartoons and watching Batman, you would see the words come on the screen like pow, bam. You would watch Schoolhouse Rock and see the simple style letters, comic book, Mad magazines, even illustrations on record covers back then was an influence because artists would design like the letter styles and the color schemes.
Yeah.
And it wasn't graph, it was just creative lettering.
No, Parliament Funkadelics covers and all of that.
Cameo.
Back to Parliament Funkadelics. What do I always say? Music is a sonic interpretation of your immediate environment. So the cartoons, the TV shows, the radio, what you see is going to be your inspiration, not Jamaica. It wasn't the first goddamn cameras that we got on Jamaica was, what was that movie by Steven Seagal? Marked for Death? Y'all remember that terrible ass movie? I love that movie though. Marked for Death by Steven Seagal was the first time niggas seen Jamaica. And then a Shabba Ranks album. I've been telling y'all. And who do I always talk to y'all about? When it comes to a lot of your hip hop, graffiti and all that stuff, album covers, Pedro Bell. Another person out of Philadelphia. Was designing those album covers. Let me give you a couple of them.
Again, going back to Funkadelic. Hardcore Jollies. I love this album. Now you only gonna find Hardcore Jollies is another one that you're only gonna find. They ain't out there on Spotify like that. You're not gonna find Hardcore Jollies on Spotify, but you will find it on my playlist. What y'all know about Hardcore Jollies? Where's it at? Don't take it personal. Take the bitter with the sweet. This is that hard. When they was over there looking up album covers, it was Hardcore Jollies. If you got funk, you got style. If you got funk, you got style. That's where you had the biggest song on this album is not coming up. Coming Around a Mountain. This is Hardcore Jollies. Cosmic Slop. I love the arpeggio at the end of this song. Ooh, I love that arpeggio at the end of that. But it was albums like this. You see that? You see that? You see that? Talk about the graffiti, where it come from in the music. What? That's Pedro Bell, homeboy. That's Pedro Bell. He died a few years ago. Out of Philadelphia. The whole graffiti thing on album shit been started with the funk. Nigga.
Lakeside record covers, the characters of the style. So for
he said Lakeside record covers. Lakeside was at Solar Records. They're from Ohio. Fantastic Voyage. Lakeside album covers. The Lakeside had that pirate thing. They had that whole pirate thing going on. And they was rapping too.
Now, so funky, hey, what do you think? What is it called? It's called a Lakeside Stank.
That's Lakeside. That was Solar Records. They from Ohio, but they moved out here and they got that to get that off. So again, now I want to go to this one point right here about the early Latino rappers in LA. I mean, in hip hop. He goes in talking about Frost. Out of all the Puerto Ricans and everything that we talk about in hip hop.
Yeah, you know,
Frost.
Frost was one of the first rappers out here that was of Latin descent. That was what, 86, 85?
Probably
right after Ice-T or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, but he wasn't really rapping in that Chicano style yet, like the one that became prevalent when he rocked La Raza.
Yeah.
But all that to say is that we all fucked with hip hop one way or another, and we all.
You see how in LA, the Latinos started coming around later on, later in the 80s. B Real's not going around saying that he created the culture. He's telling you that Frost came later, and that he started rapping in that Chicano style even after he came out. I think La Raza was like 89 or something like that, where they used Herbie Hancock, by the way. You started rapping in that Latino kind of accent. That was the LA Mexicans doing that. in the 80s. But he'll tell you very clearly, if you notice how Be Real is very, very, very honest about where it all fits in their place. He's not trying to step on nobody's shoes.
Radio personality or DJ just spins and talks. We didn't
go back and listen to King T's part and everything. Right, hold on, this dog ready to go back outside. Hold on. Come on. Bye. Little nigga. I'm gonna keep the door open. I don't know what that little nigga want to do. All right. But yeah. So that's what we see here, showing that hip hop has a much larger story. And what we need a similar conversation like this in Chicago. We need a similar conversation in Detroit, in Houston. We need this conversation in Memphis. We need this conversation in Oakland, St. Louis. Wherever we are, this conversation needs to be had. Because even though I'm talking about LA, it's not all about LA either. It's about every section of America telling how its hip hop got there and how it evolved through that city. Because what you're going to find is when you see them going city to city to city, what you're going to find is it's going to prove what Chuck D was arguing with me about. Hip hop expresses itself in the fashion of the land in which it sits on. St. Louis hip hop is different from Kansas City hip hop, which is different from Detroit hip hop, which is different from Chicago, which is different from Memphis and Nashville and Atlanta and Birmingham. Because one thing about black folks, we gonna play some music. Wherever we at, we gonna play some music. And that music is gonna be a sonic interpretation of our environment in which we stand, where we at that time. And just like New York took all it took from Black America and created its own expression of it, you took the funk from the West Coast and the Midwest. You took the styles. I mean, you took the phrasing from jazz and bebop out of Kansas City, the terms like cool and boogie down, and you took those terms created through Kansas City by Lester Young. You took Graffiti from Philadelphia. You took. And then you, out of all that taken, you created your own expression of all that taken. Well, every other city can do the same goddamn thing. Maybe they don't take the same shit from y'all. LA wasn't thinking about no goddamn Cool Herc speakers. There ain't a motherfucking person in LA that know anything about a Cool Herc speaker. But LA people can go down to the same goddamn Montgomery Ward that sells speakers and buy some motherfucking speakers for themselves. Just like people in St. Louis and Chicago could. But you know who couldn't go down to the store and buy those mega speakers? Nobody in Jamaica. Because in the early 70s, late 60s, Jamaica is still a third world country. And they do not have the technology. It's a very poor country in 71. They did not have the sound systems that America had. You just didn't have the technology at that time. Now you did have sound systems, but your sound systems, you plugged together a whole bunch of 20-year-old American equipment. That's what it was. The Jamaican sound system was them plugging together a whole bunch of third-rate shit that America stopped using 15 years ago. The new technology in the 60s and the 70s was coming right out of the United States. Japan hadn't even got their shit up yet. Japan speakers were shit. That's back when everything was still made in America. So you did not bring us a sound system. Niggas walked down to the street and bought a sound system. Or stole them. But they stole them from the city that they was in, whether that be Philadelphia, D.C., and the sound system expressed itself based on what was available at the fucking store. None of us heard a Kool Herc sound system. None of us. A handful of people in New York did, and that's it. Y'all act like this nigga was traveling the high seas and traveling the earth near and far, showing the world his goddamn sound system. No, the hell he wasn't. That nigga was traveling from borough to borough. With respect. You're right, Jamaica's Biz Martin, they were using wind-up phonographs in the 60s. What is it, Rocky? Come on, baby boy. I gotta take Rocky to go take his shit. But I'm about to get up out of here. I want to say happy birthday to Smokey Robinson, the greatest lyricist of love music of all time. Rocky. Gotta take Rocky to go take his shit, y'all. But that was part 2. And we will get more to this tomorrow. We're gonna be talking. I'm gonna have Boo Capone on here. I think Friday. I think tomorrow I might have my homegirl Kamira come on here. We'll talk some music. But happy birthday to Smokey Robinson. 6 Diamonds. The greatest love lyricist of the 20th century.
And your mother.
Smokey Robinson. Happy birthday. Got the same birthday as my mother. Happy birthday to my mom, too. Happy birthday. Because Smokey's my mom's favorite artist of all time. So it's crazy that they share the same birthday. Smokey, happy birthday to my mama. And happy birthday to Smokey Robinson.
Oh, but fun turned into love.
Go and listen to that one right there, boy. The Agony and the Ecstasy.
Got to face some agony for the ecstasy. For the ecstasy.
Happy birthday. All right. All right. Yeah, Rocky trying to get me on. Thank y'all again for listening. We're going to be back at it. I was going to take some phone calls, but Rocky got my attention now, so I got to roll. Thank y'all again for listening and understand that the story is bigger than what they've been telling us. KRS-One is somebody who's been traveling the world for the last 25, 30 years, telling this whole myth of a story about how everybody learned from Kool Herc and how hip-hop is New York culture and it's for everybody. And then we come to find out on this interview that he didn't even know about hip-hop in LA's third biggest fucking city. I mean, America's third city, biggest city at the time. It was New York, Chicago, then LA at that time. He didn't even know about a hip-hop movement in a city that was gathering 10, 15,000 people in the arena, bringing out Curtis Blow, Curtis Blow, LL Cool J, Run DMC. This man been going around telling all his history, trying to say it's not Black American history, only to come to LA and hear the non-Black Americans say, hey, we were just doing what the Black people was doing. See, the story needs to be Black people are so accepting that other cultures are allowed into what we do. That needs to be the story. That's part of black culture. Part of black culture is creating dope shit and allowing people to come to the parties if they want to come. I got a question. Do they allow us into their parties? They definitely don't allow us into their jobs. Anyway, that's another topic. Join the Patreon right now. I got a lot of I got the blues. I have a history class up right now on something that YouTube made me take down a while ago. I just found the video and put it back up, but on Patreon because YouTube took it down. They blocked it and everything. So, but I got it up on Patreon on the blues roots of hip hop, showing the blues connection to hip hop. Go check that right now on Patreon for those of you that's over there. All right. Thank y'all again for listening. That's right, Bell to Ass. I appreciate that. Y'all have a good one. Remember, there are no perfect messengers. Only perfect messages for those willing to pick up the game. I'm out.